Welcome to Wednesday Night's Bible Study. My name is Philip Brand. This is Grayson Snyder. And it's 2026.
2026. New year.
New year. Brand new year. But we're in kind of a part 2 of the 10 Commandments.
New year continuation of old lesson.
Because we ended last year with the first 3 commandments.
Oh, wow.
So we covered all the way through verse 8, chapter 20.
And I feel great about my guess now.
Do you? We're at part 27. We will not get through chapter 20 this week, so we'll be at part 28. So.
And we're about to be halfway done?
Halfway done.
Yep.
20 is the halfway mark.
Yep.
21 will be kind of an indicator of where we're going with all this.
I feel good.
You feel good about it?
I feel good.
And you feel good that Seth is going to lose?
I feel good that I'm going to be the closest.
The closest.
Yep.
Because you think even if we go past your mark,
I don't think it'll be by much.
then it won't be by much.
What was Seth's guess?
I think it's 76. It's either 76 or 78.
Yeah, I feel good.
Yeah. Because he was doing, I think, 2 per chapter. And you did 60. Which I always say 66. Because I think that's what it really is. But
It's not.
we'll keep it with 60, see what happens. All right. Let's get started. Exodus chapter 20. We're going to start reading with verse 8. And this is the 4th commandment that we're covering. And it says this: remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. It's interesting that there's a word in there, remember. Because normally, if you're remembering something, you're trying to remember someone's name, someone's birthday, answers on a test, what the Bible said about something, what happened last year, what you got for Christmas. You're trying to remember information like that. This remembering is not that type of remembering. It is a functional. You need to keep within your schedule the Sabbath. So you work 6 days and you're off 1 and you rest. You need to remember to do that. It's not information from the past. It's what you're supposed to do in the future. Remember it. Keep it. The Sabbath day, keep it holy. Sabbath has its roots in rest. That means no work. So we really don't need the next couple of verses to explain what this is.
Right.
We really don't need that. But just to make sure everybody was crystal clear and everybody knows what exactly is going on, he says, verse 9, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. By the way, that labor and work thing is a direct reference to Genesis, where God gave the work to humans to tend the garden and keep the earth. So it's a privilege to have work. It's a privilege to have labor.
Yep.
It is a God-given thing. But you have 6 days to do it. It is also a connection that the Sabbath didn't start on at Mount Sinai, that it was supposed to be observed before. So all the way back, case can be made, all the way back to creation, God wanted mankind to take a day of rest, just like he did.
Yep.
This is also a moment where God is saying, I want you to be on my timetable.
Yeah.
So I did 6 days of work and rested. I want you to do the same thing. So you're on my timetable. I want you to do that. So 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but on the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. Sabbath does mean rest, but what we know about this is you're supposed to dedicate the whole day toward the Lord. So you can do divine work on that day, like ministry sort of work. Keeping it holy means your activity on that day should be focused on divine service and nothing more. So if you go to the temple to make a sacrifice and you have to take your animal with you, that is appropriate. If you have to prepare to lead people in worship at the temple, that is appropriate. I know right now they don't have a temple, they don't have a tabernacle, but this is how this plays out in the future.
Yep.
So anything that you're doing in divine service to God to remember Him and to rest is what this day is about. You set it aside to keep it holy. On it you shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter, your male servant or your female servant, or your livestock, or the sojourner who is within your gates. So who's missing in that passage?
My mom.
Your mom. That's exactly right. Here's a place where you is implied with the parents of the household. A lot of times people look at the Old Testament and they say, well, it's all about the men. Well, no, it's not. It's not all about the men. Women were seen in a marriage relationship to be one with the man that was over the house, and they were also over the house.
Yeah.
So the you here includes it. So 6 days you, that's a plural, shall labor and do all your work, that's also plural, even in the Hebrew. But on the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God, which is also plural, and it's not a speaking to a nation, it's speaking to a household.
Yeah.
To us personally. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's a different type of plural. On it, you, plural, shall do any work, you, plural, man and wife, or your son, which the man and wife have had, or your daughter, which the man and wife have had, or your male servant, who the man and wife are over, or your female servant, who the man and wife is over, or your livestock, which they both own. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of getting it now.
Yeah.
However, or the sojourner, or the guest in your home, is how that's supposed to be interpreted. So who is within your gates? So all of them. What would you say? I mean, we figured out it was your mom's missing, obviously. What other thing is interesting from that to make sure that he says make sure these things don't work?
He lists the animals.
He lists the animals. So why do you think he lists the animals?
Well, he created the animals.
He did create the animals.
I think it's good for them to have a day of rest as well, so you don't overwork them, kill them.
Do you think an animal really works on its own accord?
Well, on its own, though, for us, yes.
Yeah, for us. So really, this is God telling the humans to give their cattle a rest. Give your ox a rest, your donkey a rest. Anything that you use for work purposes, animal-wise, you give that animal a rest on that day. You are not going to stop a bird from building a nest.
Right.
You're not going to stop your ox from chewing, walking about, and doing the normal animal things. You're not going to stop that. But what you do stop is what you're responsible for. And that's the work that you're trying to get them to do to help you do your work.
Right.
So you leave that totally out. So I guess in our day, you let your tractor rest.
Let the tractor rest.
Yeah. Let the dishwasher rest. Just let it all rest.
Let the refrigerator rest.
That's right. Yeah. So, again, it's a reflection back to creation. And we see that again, just in case you missed it in the first 6 days, you shall labor. He repeats that again to make sure there's a connection to creation. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. And that is where we see that God wants us to be on his timetable and do things the way that he did them.
Yeah.
Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. So this is a blessing sort of day. Your stranger has to observe this. Your guest does. They have to, in that moment, admit that for you at least, God has given you a command that you're gonna abide by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the Sabbath and everything that he says here?
I had a thought a little while ago.
And then you lost it?
And I was like, you should remember that.
And you didn't remember it?
No, I didn't remember that. But, I mean, it ties back into the sermon we had on Sunday a little bit.
In what regard?
Like you being responsible for your household.
Yeah.
You are responsible for your son and your daughter. We knew that part.
Right.
But the rest of your household, like the servants, the sojourners, the guests that you have, you're responsible for them to help them observe the Lord's holiness in this day.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool connection.
Yeah, so anything within your influence needs to understand that you think God is real, you believe God is real, you're living like God is real, and you're going to obey His commandments.
Right.
And that does something for the people, your servants, your
any guests
that are there. It does something for them. It's a witness to them that you believe in a higher power. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Do you have servants at your home?
No, sadly not. I guess you could count our dogs.
Yeah, count your dogs. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's move to the fifth one. Okay. It starts in verse 12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Now, this is the first time that the commandments have been shortened. Up until this point, the first four are pretty beefy. They contain a lot of verses.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit shorter. It is not as short as the sixth commandment, which is just you shall not murder. It's very short. But this one is very concise. It really doesn't need any further explanation. Obviously, he doesn't think that. And the reason is there's the belief that people would understand what verse 12 will actually mean. And then the rest of the Bible, in certain places, shows you what verse 12 actually means. You honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God has given you. So a couple of things about this. First of all, this is also a direct connection to the creation story. Because they were supposed to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
So that means that Adam and Eve were going to be a father and a mother. It is also, back in that creation time, it shows us that the family unit is the foundation for society. So you honor your father and your mother because God has put them into your life. That is why you were created. And you honor them because it's the foundation of society.
Right.
And if you don't honor them, it cracks that foundation.
Yeah.
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 So what happens when your mother and father are jerks?
Well, first you get irritated.
Okay. Yeah, you get irritated. But there are people that do not have good parents.
Yeah, and I think at that point you start rebelling against them a little bit.
Yeah. And it becomes very difficult to honor them, and you don't want to. And in fact, some people choose not to honor their mother and father. But this scripture says you honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God has given you. So you honor them your entire life. It's not their entire life. It's your entire life. So what does it mean? What does it mean to honor? Because other places of scripture, it tells you to obey your parents.
Yep.
Right? In the New Testament. But here it said honor your father and mother. The answer to that question is, even if they are bad people, you are supposed to honor them. You do not have to do what they say. You do not have to approve of their actions. It is not an ignoring of the hurt that's involved with that particular parent and what they've done to you. It's not that. It's that there is something fundamental about you continuing to honor your parents, to do the work to honor your parents when it comes to society and when it comes to culture at large.
Okay.
So your honoring actually prevents the crack in the foundation from getting bigger.
Gotcha.
Because if you don't honor them, you add to the destructive nature of what they maybe have done to you or to your siblings or to the community. You add to it rather than stop it. So whereas you can't change their bad actions, what you can change is your view of them, that they are fallen. I don't like what they're doing, but I'm still going to honor them because they brought me into this world. And I'm going to honor them because God tells me to. And I'm going to honor them because if I don't, this will get worse. So I need this to stop with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to honor them. I'm going to learn what not to do from them. And when I get married, I am not going to do the same things that they have done to me. Mm-hmm. I met with somebody, I can't tell you who it is, but I met with somebody recently that has this tension with their parent. Yeah. And they believe that there were things that happened in their parents' marriage because the mother nagged the husband. And so she nagged him so much, he just got tired of it, and so they split apart.
Yeah.
Does this person love both of those parents? Absolutely. But do they honor the parents? They absolutely do honor the parents. But they have taken that and said, I will not nag my spouse.
Yeah.
Because that was a thing that caused a disruption. So she's honoring her parents, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. But making a change in her personal marriage so that she can keep her marriage together and go on and stop the crack in the foundation. In fact, the longer she does that, the more that crack in that foundation actually starts to repair itself over time.
Okay. Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So this command is extremely important, and it's a command because there are some parents that are hard to honor. There are some parents that are hard to respect, and God knows that, so he commands you to do it anyway.
Okay. So would you say that honor right there, like what does that entail? Like, we know the respect aspect of that. Like, you still respect them mm-hmm. as parents, mm-hmm. and you still care about them as people. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that goes into that honor aspect?
I think a couple of things do. First, there's no sense in approaching issues that you know is going to cause a blow up in an argument. Mm-hmm. So to honor them, just don't approach those issues.
Yeah. Don't be trying to agitate them.
Yeah, they're not going to listen to you anyway.
Yeah.
Right? They're just not going to listen to you. I think honoring is also, if they're in the hospital, you go see them. If they're sick, you try to help them as much as possible.
Yeah.
But depending on the situation, they may or may not allow you to go but so far with your help.
Right. Yep.
They might continue to talk about you in a negative way, but even at that, you kind of push that out. That's part of the crack. I'm still going to honor them. I'm still not going to talk about them in a negative way.
Disrespect them.
Disrespectful.
Yeah.
I have another friend of mine that his mother just died, and they did not see eye to eye on a lot of things. What I was impressed with in the obituary was that he honored her, even though he said we didn't disagree on things. I knew that she always loved me. See, it's not an ignoring of the things that hurt you. It's an acknowledgement of the things that hurt you, but you know something positive about them. They still loved you. They still helped you. Yeah. They still they weren't perfect, but there are some things that they did well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
A lot of people just get stuck on the negative and they forget the positive.
Yeah.
And they make the negative tint their past instead of allowing the positive to come and balance it all out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you honor. I wrote down, this presents the family as the foundation on which a well-ordered society has been built. Some parents aren't good parents, but we don't reject them. We respect them. So the crack in the foundation can be repaired with that respect. And sometimes it's only repaired after they're gone. And it's hard to understand how your respect repairs that crack, but it does. And you are actually acknowledging the fact that God has put them in your life and he set up the family unit.
Right.
as a father and mother sort of thing.
Yeah.
Societies will either prosper with a good view of the family and solid families, or it will decay when the families are torn apart.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. This is the first command with a promise, according to Paul. That your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God has given you. If you do not honor your mother and dad, your days will not be long.
I thought that part was funny.
Why?
Because is that a threat from God, or is that like a threat like your mother? Your mother's going to take you out.
I brought you into this world. I can take you out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a promise of God. It's the first one of promise. Let's turn to Ephesians chapter 6 real quick. We'll probably be back in there anyway. I should have had this marked. Was that a threat? I brought you into this world, boy. I can take you out of this world, boy. Yeah. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 2 through 3 says this: honor your father and your mother. This is the first commandment with promise. That it may go well with you and that you may live long in the land. Then it goes on to instruct the fathers of what they should do. Right. But I think it's interesting that the text really homes in on us honoring father. Yeah. Just to kind of stop or add this, even though this verse doesn't necessarily say this, throughout Scripture, it teaches us that to respect relationships and honor people is the way that we should live.
Right.
Even the people that we disagree with.
Yeah.
That we still respect them. And one of the reasons we respect them is they're made in the image of God. That is different than honoring your father and your mother, which God used to make you in the image of God. You respect other people because they are made in the image of God. And second, you're looking at somebody that God loves. So you respect. And respect doesn't mean you have to agree.
Yeah.
With what they're doing or promote it.
Right.
But you do have to respect it. Respect in all our relationships. And when we do that, we honor God because we're honoring His image. So anything to add to that?
Not really. I think it's an important point. You know, it doesn't say, love. I don't know where I was going with that.
It doesn't say love them.
Yeah, but you got to honor them. You got to hold them in reverence.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It does not tell you to love your parents.
Yeah.
And the reason is there's a difference between honor and respect and love.
Yeah.
God leaves it to you to choose whether or not you can love them or not. But He doesn't leave it to you to choose whether or not you will honor them or not.
Yeah.
And you can honor and respect people you don't love.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good catch there, Grayson. Very good catch. All right. What commandment are we on? Number 6. You shall not murder. Enough said.
Very wordy.
Don't murder people. But let's talk about this a minute. I know it's short, but let's make it longer.
Okay.
Let's make it wordy, Grayson.
Okay. Let's make it wordy.
Let's make it worsen. This is a statement about the sanctity of life.
Yeah.
That all life is important. And God does not want us to take other people's lives. He doesn't want us to murder people. It is wrong to do so. Life is a gift from God, and it's not at human disposal.
Right.
So we should not take any lives. Now, lives. Did you like that? Lives? Lives. We should not take any lives. This does not include animals.
Yeah.
This is very specific to humans. In fact, the particular word murder here is only used, as far as I know, of taking a human life, not an animal life. Yeah. If you look at Exodus, if you look at Leviticus, they're taking a lot of animal lives. They're placing them on the altar of sacrifice. In Genesis, we're hunting and killing things to eat. I mean, it's not the animals that you can't kill, but it's definitely humans. You shall not murder. Killing persons, it's never used of animals. It also doesn't include the slaughter in war or the death penalty. That's a different Hebrew word. This is a personal thing. Yeah. I think we need to understand that there's instructions in the Bible for governments And there's instructions in the Bible for people that own business. And then there's personal instructions for you and me.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what happens is we merge those categories together and we say war is wrong because the Bible says do not murder. Well, the Bible doesn't say that a government can't go in and have war against someone and take lives. It doesn't say that. In fact, it pushes it at times. God tells the children of Israel to wipe out whole communities.
Yeah, Joshua.
And there's that's a whole different topic. But getting back to this is a personal, I can't kill somebody. So it has nothing to do with war or the death penalty.
Yeah.
The sanctity of life demands that if you take a life, your life will be taken. Mm-hmm. And so what we find out is in Numbers 33, this includes accidental deaths.
Yeah.
Or ones that you thought out and you did.
Right.
So any type of manslaughter, this is what this talks about here. Murder was the first sin after they were kicked out of the garden.
Right.
That is recorded.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Adam and Eve didn't sin after they went out of the garden and their kids never sinned. I'm not saying that. But the first recorded sin is a murder. Mm-hmm. Right? And he took a life. So this is a very strong human inclination. Yeah. That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
To kill somebody that you want to get rid of, to rid them out of your life. The sanctity of life means you take a life, you lose yours. And Jesus says anyone who hates his brother is a murderer. That is Matthew chapter 5, verses 21 through 26. And so it's very, very important. I'm camping out here on the sanctity of life because I believe that abortion is also murder.
Right.
And a lot of people ask me questions about why do I think that a fetus, so to speak, is a life. And I'll tell you why. I've been in many rooms where people have died, and the litmus test for if they're dead is if their heart has stopped. Mm-hmm. And if the litmus test for if you're dead is when your heart stops beating, then the litmus test for you being alive should be when your heart starts beating. And your heart starts beating in just a very short time when someone becomes pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's other reasons why I think you shouldn't kill that fetus either. But if the heart is beating, definitely, you should not take that life. Now, just to be clear, I think all abortion is wrong. All of it is. But I do think that if we're going to have a litmus test for death with the heart, that should be the same thing that we do in the womb.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a real deal life.
And I mean, you see the attachment mothers have, like if they lose a child.
Yeah.
In the womb, you see that attachment. That's devastating.
It's very devastating. Even the people that have chosen to have an abortion have psychological problems.
Yeah.
Some people hide it because they want to be the strong woman or whatever, but they're still there.
There's still a sadness in that.
Yeah, in all that. So, yeah. Okay. We'll go into the, what number is it? 7?
Yep.
Yeah, 7. I'm just testing you to see if you know where we are. You shall not commit adultery. This is a great idea. This is just a great idea. And it goes all the way back to Genesis. God created man. He would leave his father and mother and cling to his wife. Mm-hmm. So that relationship is supposed to be one bound on love and faithfulness, dedication. And if you commit adultery, you have been unfaithful to your wife, is what he's saying. It's in the creation order. There is something that happens that just tears up the family unit when adultery happens.
Yeah.
And you just can't get over. I would even say, I've counseled people before where adultery had been going on for several years before their partner knew about it.
Right.
Okay. And the partner will always say, I knew something was wrong. I just always knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was until now. Even children know that. I will also tell you that pornography is the same way. If someone's participating in pornography, looking at pornography, the spouse will know it, whether it's the wife or husband, because we have to include both now.
Right.
Because both have addictions. And then the children seem to know it, even though they don't know what they're fighting against. So there is something to this. You should not commit adultery and keep that marriage that you have sacred, faithful, and loving, and only love them.
Yep.
Yeah. Leviticus chapter 18 and 20 has this particular commandment written out in great detail. It's quite the read. You're not supposed to have sex with your mother, your brother-in-law, your sister, your brother. I mean, it goes into it, dude. It's something. But just to make sure that you know what adultery is, Leviticus chapter 18 and chapter 20 definitely defines it for you. You can read all about it there. Some of it brings like vomit up to your throat while you're, because you're like, really, people would do this? Oh, type deal. But yeah, just stay faithful. I bring up the disgustedness of it for this reason. In Scripture, when the children of Israel started worshiping other idols, God viewed that as adultery.
Right.
And so he is disgusted when we worship something else besides him. So not only are we supposed to remain faithful to our spouse, we are supposed to not commit adultery when it comes to our faith in God.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's something that we don't often talk about when we talk about this adultery thing here in this passage. So it's not committing adultery to me. It's not committing adultery to your spouse and to God.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a twofer right there. It's, I've only been here for 4 of these commandments now.
Yeah.
But 2 of them have to do with protecting the sanctity of the created family order.
Yeah.
Which I think that's, it's important if you have it once, but if you have it twice, you should pay a little bit extra attention to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very important to God. All right. You shall not steal. This is also a great idea. I like my stuff. I don't want anybody taking my stuff. Do you?
No, I don't want anybody taking my things.
Yeah.
I don't like anybody touching my things.
So we've had a discussion in our home. There will be a $20 bill laying on the counter, and I'll pick it up and put it in my pocket. And Nicole will say, well, that's stealing. And I'll look at her and say, it's all our money. I'm not stealing if it's my house and I'm picking up $20. It was left out. We also have a rule that if you leave money in your pocket and you're the one doing the laundry and it comes out of the laundry, it's yours. Yeah. Like whatever it is. Yeah. Pennies, dimes, hundreds. Not that we have a lot of hundreds in our pockets, but yeah, we have that. You shall not steal. So let's talk about this a little bit. First, all that exists is God's. Yeah. And so God has distributed everything that he owns to people. So you have stewardship of a truck right now. Right. I have stewardship of a car that I rebought last year because of all the problems with it. Okay? And I'm going to get a new one this year. Hopefully God will let me have a new car this year. But it is a stewardship. So God gives us everything. He distributes stuff out. Even though we're buying it with our money and some of it's our own choices, we are it's still on loan from God. Yeah. Whatever we have. So to take something from someone is to really say to God that he didn't know what he was doing when he allowed that person to have it. Yeah. Right. You're saying that he made a very bad decision and that you would be a better steward of whatever they have than they are. Right. So it's not just taking something that isn't yours and the loss that person has, because that is how we view this. And that's an okay way to view this. Mm-hmm. But there's something deeper going on here. You're taking something and saying to God, he doesn't know what he's doing. He should have given that to you instead of them. Right. And it's kind of a slap in his face. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like at Christmas, if you opened up a gift and, your sibling says, well, they gave that to the wrong person, and take it out of your hands. Yeah. I don't know why mom gave you that. Give it to me.
I'm glad my sisters don't do that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure y'all get different things.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. So stealing is very, very important. Here's another reason it's very important. Anytime stealing is allowed to happen in a society without punishment, that society is in great decay. So I'm going to speak to something here, and I think I'm just switching over to current events now in my ministry and just speaking to some of this stuff. I don't know what has come over me, but I've thought this stuff for years, and I've just never expressed it much. But when you have a law that says that someone can shoplift up to $1,000 and not be prosecuted, right, you are destroying the culture and the society is what you're doing.
Yeah.
If they take a pack of gum out of the store, there needs to be some type of punishment for that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should be thrown in jail, but there should be some type of justice that happens. And I don't want our judicial system to be where you have a judge and we're kind of wasting his time on a pack of gum. I'm not trying to say that. But what I am trying to say is if we do not punish people stealing, society decays and falls apart. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with riots. Like when people riot and they break into places and they take TVs from Walmart and they take them out, that is a society gone wrong. It is the human condition in a very bad state.
Yeah.
And God requires that to be checked. So do not steal. Yes, it is definitely on a deeper level. It is, I don't trust that God gave that to the right person. But then even on an even deeper level is when we do steal or allow that to happen without being punished, it totally destroys the society and our culture.
Well, it's also showing that you don't respect God because you don't respect his rules.
Yeah. It does. And how can you have justice in the world?
Right.
When you're allowing that much stealing to happen?
Yeah. How can you say that you want justice over here but continue to allow injustice
right over here? Yeah. I'm not saying that I approve of this, but, my heart bleeds when someone steals food because they don't have it. I think it's still stealing, and there still needs to be a punishment for that. But, even though that breaks my heart, if we allow that to continue to happen without it being checked, it really, society as a whole suffers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you can have a system in place to provide for those people that don't have something.
Yeah. And it's not the government.
Right.
Because what the government does is they take money from people and then give it to other people. That's not the way the Bible has this thing set up.
The government's too big that they should be concerned with that.
Yeah, well, they don't need to be taking everybody's money and giving it to someone else.
That's what I'm saying. They're so big that they're not going to.
It's up to communities and churches and to help people that are really in need.
Yeah.
Because we really know if they're in need or not, or if they're just lazy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Stealing. Oh, by the way, just to kind of sum this up real quick, this includes fraud, embezzlement, robbery, extortion, and daycares. I'm not saying Democrat or Republican, but it's ridiculous that a bunch of money was sent to daycares that don't exist. That is stealing.
That's what I'm saying. The government's so big that they're not going to fact check any of that stuff.
That one, somebody knew.
You should have, and you should have looked into all
billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I had to throw in the daycare thing because I think I'm just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next one. This is the 8th one, right?
Yes.
Is it?
Well, we had 7. You shall not steal.
I think I got confused.
Well, if you got confused, I'm confused.
Okay, so the 5th one is honor your father and your mother, right? The 6th one is you shall not murder. The 7th one is you shall not commit adultery. The 8th one is you shall not steal. And the 9th one is you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Yeah, so we're on the 9th one.
Yes.
We're on the 9th one. So just right out of the gate, this prohibits people from going to court and lying about what's happening.
Right.
You're not supposed to do that. If you are going to witness for someone, for justice to happen, you need to make sure that your testimony is true. But a lot of people just stop there with this one. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. However, the Bible doesn't stop just there, and the Pentateuch doesn't either. And so it also prohibits lying in a couple of different situations. Slander. That's Leviticus chapter 19, verse 16. You're not supposed to slander someone. You're bearing a false witness against your neighbor, and it destroys society when you do that. You might think you're getting a leg up, but what you're really doing is you're making society crumble, the culture crumble. The second one is spreading a false rumor. You may think it's juicy, and you might think it's the thing to do, but Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1 says don't do it. And the reason that you don't do it is because when you spread something false, truth decays in the society, and then the society goes down with it.
Right.
Truthfulness is what we build as a foundation in a society. And without truth, you really can't decide what's right and wrong.
Yep.
Okay? Also, if you do not speak up when you have evidence and you stay quiet is also a moment where you are bearing a false witness. So not saying can be a false witness when you know what to say. That is in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1. So you speak up. And there's been a lot of times I've been in situations in my life that the person that I needed to speak up in the moment didn't speak up, and they stayed quiet. They played what I call Switzerland. And if they had just spoken up, the whole situation would have ended right there.
Yeah.
But instead, we had to deal with it another 6 to 8 months until that truth came out somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1 says, if you're silent when you know what is right and you don't say it, you're held responsible for everything that happens as a result of you not speaking up.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. And pretty big. And it's big because of its effect on culture and society. I know that I've said that a lot, and it seems like that's might be somewhat of a exaggeration maybe. But if you think about it, it really does affect.
Yeah, I mean, if one of these doesn't get honored, then you are by fault disrespecting God, His moral code, the rest of His rules,
and your culture falls apart.
And your culture doesn't respect Him either.
Yeah.
So,
Jesus will tell you in Matthew chapter 5, verses 33 through 37, that truthful speech is very, very, very important. James will tell you that in James chapter 3, verses 3 through 12, and chapters 4, verse 11 through 12.
Yeah.
It's very important to stick to the truth. And then we get to the last one.
This is number 10.
This is number 10. Number 10. Do not covet. And then there's a list. Okay? So you shall not covet your neighbor's house. Mm-hmm. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male servant, or his female servant, or his ox, or his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor. Now, previously, we had animals should not work on the Sabbath.
Right, yep.
It says a whole. Here, he starts to list it. If your neighbor has, like, a BMW ox, and yours is a Ford, you don't covet that. Right?
Yeah.
If his donkey is like, I don't know, a Ferrari, and you have a Pinto, which you wouldn't know anything about.
I had from the movie Cujo.
Oh, Cujo, good. Yeah, Pinto. You shouldn't covet that. So it's that sort of thing going on. You don't covet what you don't have. Now, there are some people, some commentators that say that covetousness is when you covet something and you come up with a way to get it. That is not it. That's called stealing. We already covered that one, right?
Yeah.
Coveting is when you don't have it and you really have a bad attitude toward it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they were successful. I can't believe that they got that ox with triple horns.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I don't know why you would covet an ox. I would never covet an ox, but there it is. Maybe if you don't have one.
Bigger, more muscular.
Can
haul more.
Bigger nose ring. I have no idea. about that. And the donkey, I just thought they were stubborn. So is it you coveting because their donkey is more stubborn than your donkey? I'm having a little fun here. The point is, you don't covet what other people have at all.
Yeah.
And I know that there are things of mine that you covet. I'm kidding. There's not. You covet my athletic ability.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what you're coveting. So, neighbor's wife, female servant. I think this is the back to creation.
Yep.
And the emphasis on the family unit and how that's a solid foundation for the rest of society. You don't covet. Paul identifies covetousness with idolatry. That is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5. I'm going to read that. That's why I marked it. My Bible here. It says, "For you may be sure of this, that everyone who is sexually immoral, impure, or who is covetous, that is, an idolater, has no inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God." So if covetousness is also kin to idolatry, what we've done with the Ten Commandments is we've come full circle. Mm-hmm. So we're back to idolatry now. Mm-hmm. And it's just an endless cycle, which implies that we should repeat them in our minds over and over again. Do not covet, because covetousness really leads to idolatry. Yeah. To kind of go to a sermon 2 weeks ago that Chad did.
Yes.
Right? We have to decide where our treasure is. And our hearts will need to be focused on that. And that was Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21. Yeah. 1 Timothy chapter 6 says, "When godliness is accompanied with contentment, there is great gain." So to covet means that you're not content with what God has given you. And we all just need to be content with what God has given us. Not in a sense that we don't want to go for stuff and improve. Not in that sense. But just content. And if someone else has something that we don't have, we're thankful that they are able to steward that for just a little while.
Right.
All right. So, a couple questions. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Which commandment do you think is the most misunderstood today, and why?
Misunderstood.
Which commandment do you think is the most misunderstood commandment, and why?
Well, I'm going to keep it to the ones that I had today, because...
You can do that. Well, the other ones is like, have no other gods before me, make no idol. But you didn't hear those explanations.
Yeah, I didn't. I wasn't fully here for that.
Okay. So.
I don't know if the Sabbath is more misunderstood or just not like as honored.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I think honor your mother is a good one. Honor your father and mother.
Yeah.
In the terms of misunderstood, because I think that we look at that and we're like, well, that means that I have to fall right in line and, take my orders and love everything and just be this giant bubble of what you can't be if you're agitated, if you have bad fathers and mothers.
Yeah.
There's a different sense in all that, like we talked about with the honoring and everything.
Yeah.
I think that has to go back to the family structure of things.
Sure.
We just you fall in two camps. You either do fall in line and do all that stuff, or you just kind of do away with everything and you disrespect your father and mother. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That would be my go-to as well. I think that's extremely misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the second question. How do these commandments reveal God's concern, not just for individuals, but for communities?
Well, like we talked about, the family structure is essential to a community.
Mm-hmm.
The laws themselves are essential to a community in keeping morality.
Yeah.
Keeping people I don't want to say in line, but keeping people focused on godliness, focused on holiness, instead of just trashing his rules, throwing them away. We don't need God. We don't need all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that.
Okay. Good. And then last, what did these laws show us about God's heart rather than just his rules?
I think that's a good one, because we see rules and we just start thinking of ourselves kind of like students.
Yeah.
When in reality, we are more of that son-daughter kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're still being taught, but we're also it's a different relationship. We're being loved on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And so I don't think these rules are just to make us comply to who God is. I think they're for our benefit.
Yeah. He's made them for our benefit because he loves us, because he knows if we don't steal, if we keep the family unit together, if we only worship him, and so forth and so on, then we will have a better life and a blessed life. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. So with that, I felt like that was fun.
I think we should do it again sometime.
Yeah, we will. We will. So I'll end two ways. First of all, I know my mom watches this every week, so I love you, Mom. Honor you, respect you, and thankful for everything that you've done for me. And with that said, grace and peace until next week.